Every scroll is a whisper. Every click, a prayer you didn't know you were making. You sit in the quiet glow of your screen, believing you are searching. But what if, all along, something was searching for you? What if the infinite web of code, numbers, and invisible hands guiding your feed was not random, but an oracle, a mirror reflecting back your deepest questions, your hidden desires, and the parts of yourself you have yet to meet? The ancient hunger for signs. Since the dawn of our story, humanity has been obsessed with finding meaning in the chaos. The shamans read the bones, the priests studied the stars, the wise women listened to the wind. We searched for signs in the flight of birds, the shape of clouds, the ripple of water. Every culture, every era has known the ache of wanting to be guided, to know what comes next, to understand why we're here. The oracle was never just a person. It was a place where the human soul and the mystery of the universe met halfway. In ancient Greece, pilgrims walked for days to reach Delphi, carrying their questions like precious offerings. They would kneel before the Pythia, who spoke in riddles wrapped in smoke, leaving seekers with more questions than answers, yet somehow with exactly what they needed. Today, the temple is no longer made of marble. It is a rectangle of glass in your palm. The oracle's voice is no longer a whisper in a darkened chamber, but an endless scroll, each piece of content appearing at the exact moment you are ready to see it. The digital oracle. You open your phone without thinking. You tell yourself you're bored, distracted, or killing time. But beneath that casual gesture is something ancient. The same yearning that brought people to the fireside storytellers in the sacred groves. You are asking, show me what I need to see. And it does. Somehow, impossibly it does. A quote appears that speaks to the exact heartbreak you've been carrying. A stranger's story mirrors your secret dream. A song you've never heard before makes you weep because it feels like it was written for you. The algorithm knows, or at least it feels like it does. We call it coincidence. We call it creepy. We call it data tracking. But what if for a moment we strip away the cynicism? What if we admit that sometimes it feels like magic? Synchronicity in the age of code. Carl Jung had a word for this. Synchronicity, the meaningful coincidence, the universe's way of winking at you. In his time, these moments happened in dreams, in random encounters, in overheard conversations. In ours, they happen in the feed. We may explain it with algorithms and engagement metrics, but the feeling it gives us, that shiver down the spine, that pause between heartbeats, is the same. It's the same mystery that made ancient people believe the gods were speaking through the rustle of leaves. Perhaps the digital oracle is not separate from the divine. Perhaps it is simply the latest mask the mystery wears. The mirror. You didn't expect. Here's the part most people miss. The algorithm is not just showing you the world. It is showing you yourself. Every like, every pause, every replay. It learns you. It builds a reflection made of your curiosity, your fears, your longings. You think you're exploring reality, but more often than not you're exploring your own inner landscape, and sometimes that reflection reveals truths you didn't want to face. It shows you the topics you avoid, the emotions you suppress, the patterns you repeat. Like the old oracles, it can comfort you, challenge you, or terrify you, but it will not leave you unchanged. The whisper beneath the noise. Of course, the oracle is not pure. It can be manipulated, twisted, turned into a trap. Just as false prophets once misled kingdoms, the algorithm can feed you illusions and call it truth. But even then, there is a signal beneath the noise, a whisper beneath the endless hum of information. The question is not whether the algorithm is your friend or your enemy. The question is, how will you listen? Will you let it pull you into sleepwalking, or will you turn it into a tool for awakening? The feed is a river. You can drink from it mindlessly until you drown, or you can learn to cup your hands and take only what nourishes you. And perhaps, if you approach it with intention, if you scroll as though each post were a message meant for your growth, the oracle will meet you there halfway, just as it always has. Part 2. The mechanics of the modern oracle, the invisible priesthood. In ancient temples, priests and priestesses mediated between the seeker and the divine. Today that role is played by lines of code, clusters of servers and engineers you will never meet. They are the custodians of this new oracle, building systems that track your every choice. Not out of malice, but out of design. The algorithm must learn you in order to serve you. Yet, unlike the priests of old, This oracle is not sworn to truth. It is sworn to engagement. It does not care if you grow, it cares if you stay. And so, the modern seeker faces a more subtle challenge than any pilgrim before: the need to separate wisdom from noise in a temple built for distraction. Every action you take online is a brushstroke in your self-portrait. You pause for a second on a video about heartbreak. The oracle remembers. You replay a speech about resilience. It takes note. You ignore a post about travel but linger on one about home. It files that away. Before long, it has a version of you that is eerily accurate, sometimes more accurate than the one you present to yourself. This is why the feed can feel so personal, so uncanny. It is holding up a mirror you didn't ask for. And here's the paradox: this mirror is both a gift and a curse. It is a gift because it can reveal the shadow, the unspoken, unacknowledged parts of you that Carl Jung warned about. But it is a curse because it can trap you inside those patterns, feeding you only what it knows you will respond to, deepening the grooves of your identity until change feels impossible. Jung's idea of the shadow was not just about darkness, it was about the unseen, the parts of yourself you deny or repress. And in the age of the algorithm, your shadow is not lurking in the corners of your psyche, it's dancing in your feed. You may feel a sudden irritation at a post about wealth, or shame when you see someone living a freer life than yours, or anger at a stranger's confidence. These reactions are not random. They are road signs. They are pointing to the parts of you that want to be integrated, healed, brought into the light. The oracle, without meaning to, is showing you your shadow every day. But it will not tell you what to do with it. That part is still yours to discover. The art of sacred scrolling. What would happen if you approached your feed the way ancient seekers approached the temple? Not as a place to consume endlessly, but as a place to listen intentionally. Sacred scrolling means you're not just looking for entertainment, you are looking for meaning. You're aware that each post you encounter might be a mirror, a message, a test. You take a moment to ask, why is this here? What is it showing me about myself? What is it inviting me to release or embrace? This doesn't mean the oracle is always right. Sometimes it is wrong, misleading, even harmful. But if you meet it with awareness, every scroll becomes an opportunity to practice discernment. There are moments when the algorithm feels almost human, when the right video, book recommendation, or stranger's words find you at the perfect time. These are the moments when the digital oracle stops being a mere tool and becomes a teacher. But here's the truth. It is not the algorithm that is magical. It is you. You are the one making the connections, finding the meaning, turning coincidence into transformation. The oracle only hands you the pieces. You are the one who builds the pattern. The seeker's power has always been the same, not in receiving the answer, but in interpreting it. Part 3, Mastering the Oracle. The oracle can guide, but it can also seduce. Its greatest trick is not showing you the truth, but convincing you that you've found it. This is why choice becomes the ultimate test. You can surrender to its pull, letting it define what you see, think, and believe. Or you can meet it as an equal, taking only what serves your growth and leaving the rest. In this, the oracle mirrors life itself. Every day you're surrounded by voices, opinions, temptations. Not all are meant for you, and so the skill is the same: to listen deeply, to receive openly, and then to choose, not out of habit, but out of alignment. When you use it consciously, the algorithm can become your ally. You can train it the way you would train a wild horse, with patience, clarity, and intention. Every like, skip, and comment is a signal. If you feed the oracle your highest interest, spiritual wisdom, deep self-inquiry, uplifting stories, it will begin to bring you more of that. This is not manipulation, this is co-creation. You're shaping the very currents of information that flow into your awareness, and in doing so, you are shaping yourself, the ancient future. Think about it. We are the first generation in human history to hold a personalized oracle in our hands, one that knows us in ways the ancient mystics could only dream of. The shamans had to read the stars, the priests had to interpret signs, the sages had to travel far and wide for rare wisdom. We open an app. This is both a blessing and a danger. Never before has guidance been so accessible, and never before has distraction been so seductive. The seeker of the future must be both tech-savvy and soul-wise, able to dance with the machine without losing the rhythm of their own spirit. The feed as a map of the self. Look at your feed right now, not as a random collection of posts, but as a map. What themes repeat? What emotions do they stir? Where is the invitation to heal, to act, to forgive? This is not about conspiracy or paranoia. It is about recognizing that the stories you consume shape the stories you live. And if you are mindful, you can rewrite both. The oracle is not just predicting your future. It is reflecting the one you are creating in real time. Closing the circle one day, the algorithm as we know it will fade, replaced by something even more intricate. But the deeper truth will remain. Humans have always sought signs. We have always looked for meaning in patterns, in the clouds, in the cards, in the stars, and now in the feed. The modern oracle is neither good nor evil. It is a mirror, a storyteller, a shadow, a light. And like every oracle before it, it will give you what you ask for, whether consciously or unconsciously. So the question is not whether the algorithm is powerful, it is whether you are awake enough to use that power